DLC Radahn is very difficult. I died to this boss a lot, and I struggled to progress on Phase 2 as there were just so many abilities, it was difficult to practice and figure out how to avoid damage on each one. I couldn't find a helpful guide, just videos of him being cheesed with Mimic tier or summons, or some just god tier player that's got the fight down perfect. There was nothing really in between and approachable to me, so same as Millennia, I figured I'd just make it myself, and with a better mic this time. So let's look at Phase 1. Radahn will almost always begin the fight with this magic barrel roll attack. He's going to cross his swords, they'll glow purple, and he'll jump right at you. This is super easy to dodge, and is one of the few attacks that opens him up to a big punish. He has a second attack that looks really similar, but they can be differentiated as this is much faster and begins with him hunching over and stomping his foot. This attack will suck you in if you're hit, and he'll do a pretty nasty follow-up, but you just need to dodge when he uncrosses his swords and nothing will happen. If you do get hit, just spam roll back and you'll be fine. You really can't punish this attack as melee, as if you get too close, he'll do a follow-up attack regardless of if you got hit, and it'll be too late to roll away. He has one last magic attack in Phase 1. For this, he'll slam his weapons from the side into the ground. They'll glow purple, and he'll launch rocks into the air, and then throw them at you. This requires a few dodges. One when he slams his weapons down, or if you position right, you could just walk out of it. Next, when he launches the rocks up, roll into him, and to dodge the rocks in the air, just run 90 degrees to the right and jump right before they hit you. That's it for magic. Let's look at his melee attacks. First off, almost all of his combos will begin with his right hand. He only has one attack where he'll use his left hand, and this attack is almost impossible to dodge. He'll swipe with his left hand, then his right, then he'll cross his swords in the middle for a big slash. If you try to dodge this first hit, the second will get you, and you'll have to dodge the third. If you get hit by the first, you could still dodge the second and third. The only consistent way to take 0 damage here is to block or deflect the first blow, so you still have time to dodge the second and third. Honestly, it doesn't do that much damage, but it's worth calling out if you're trying to do a no damage run. Here's a clip of me doing it. Another tricky combo is his fire stab. He'll stab with one weapon and then almost like Moog, do a sweep where he scratches the air. This will then blow up. Dodging the first attack is simple. For the sweep, make sure you dodge into him so you get some distance between you and the fire, and then just circle around him. He'll normally immediately do a follow-up after the explosion, so ideally you don't have to roll that, you're just positioned far enough away from your second dodge. Honestly, the rest of his attacks are all a bit similar, and the best advice I can offer is to be right in his face. Never dodge back, and basically always dodge into him. He'll do a front flip that you could punish, but sometimes he'll go twice, so don't risk a heavy attack. He'll do a stomp. You need to dodge this later than you think. I aimed for when his foot hit the ground, since the shockwave would get me if I dodged too early. He'll do a cross slash, similar to the third attack of the combo earlier, but this doesn't have a punish window unless you have a super fast weapon. The rest of his combos are all pretty well telegraphed, and you'll just get used to them. Just remember, always dodge into the boss and you'll be fine. There's one combo that you really want to get though. He opens his attack with his right arm, and he brings it around his back. After you dodge this, he'll put both of his arms behind his left, and he'll attack with one at a time. You'll need to roll twice pretty quickly, and after this you'll have a small window to attack if you have a fast weapon, and then he'll do a slam. Don't attack immediately after you dodge the slam, as he'll do a shockwave a few seconds after. So you need to wait a second, then dodge again. After this, there's a huge window to heal or attack. Honestly, this attack will probably be your biggest source of damage in Phase 1 and Phase 2. That's it for Phase 1, let's check out Phase 2. When Phase 2 begins, you'll either be right in front of Radahn, or near the entrance. I think this is decided by where you were when Phase 1 ends, but it seemed inconsistent. It doesn't really matter though. You have a brief window to heal at the start of the phase, but you can only drink once, as the boss will immediately do this giant light explosion attack. Radahn will outstretch their arms, and a circle of light will spawn underneath you. You need to run immediately. It's best to already be running, so if you spawn far, run towards Radahn when the phase starts. If you spawn close, run away from Radahn when the phase starts. Once you get out of the circle, you're safe. You have a few seconds to relax. You could buff. You could drink if you need. Just make sure you're watching out for those light pillars that spawn so you don't get hit by one. After this, Radahn will sometimes do this light pulse where he crosses his swords, they'll glow gold, and then the giant pulse will come out. Just dodge when he uncrosses his blades. After this, he'll do a gap closer. This could be the magic barrel roll from Phase 1, just with a larger explosion at the end. This is handled the exact same way. Just dodge and you should be able to punish him. It's a pretty big window. Or he could do this light dash. He will shoot a circle of light at you, dash to the right, send in an echo to attack you, and then he'll charge in himself. Just run to the right and roll to dodge the light circle, then dodge into him twice to dodge the echo and his follow-up attack immediately. This should open up a chance to punish him if you have a quick attack and you could hit him with a rolling right attack. He has one more gap closer that is a bit more tricky. For this, he will fly straight up in the air, he'll shoot 3 echoes at you, then he'll attack himself on the 4th. I just ran and dodged to the right and made sure to dodge on the 4th hit. Don't punish this, he'll immediately follow up with a combo. These echo attacks are really what makes Phase 2 so hard, so let's take a look at the last 2. One you'll recognize is from Phase 1. It's the same rock gravity throwing attack. Dodge the first attack just like Phase 1. However, when he's in the air, try to run away and get as much distance between you and him as possible. Dodge the rocks by running to the right and jumping as they're about to hit you, but keep running to the right, as he'll send 4 echoes to attack you. After the 4th, he'll immediately charge in himself with the same attack, and then he'll cause a big explosion. If any of the 4 echoes hit you, it's not a huge deal, but you do need to dodge the final hit. Don't punish that hit, wait a second, then dodge the explosion, and you should get a solid window to deal some damage. The last echo attack is much easier to dodge. He'll cast it in melee, he'll put both of his hands to his side, he'll start to glow, and then he'll dash forward. All you need to do is dodge once to the left and dodge once forward. If you dodge twice to the left, he'll actually leave a trail of explosions, and you'll hit that trail with your second dodge, so just make sure you dodge forward. Let's look at his melee attacks. Honestly, most of the attacks are the exact same. They're just more punishing. But here are the new combos you really do have to look out for. He does have a grab. For this, he'll hunch over, spread out his swords, they'll start to glow, and then he'll jump. Just delay your dodge until he's about to land. You can punish this, just not with a heavy attack as the window is pretty small. Lastly, there is a melee combo where he will hold his swords up high, they'll glow, then he'll rush in for a flurry attack. Generally, this is pretty easy to dodge, just make sure you stay right in his face. At the end of the combo, he'll slam down with an explosion. Just dodge this and you'll have a pretty good punish window. There is one insta-kill mechanic, similar to the phase change in the original Radahn. He will jump into the sky, disappear, then come crashing down a few seconds later. I always just ran in one direction when he did this and I never got hit. And for comparison, here's the Phase 2 version of the melee combo we punish in Phase 1. We roll the exact same way, the only difference is, at the end, instead of a shockwave, it's the light explosion. These pulse outward, so make sure to dodge inward, and you could always punish the boss. The rest of the melee attacks are all dodged the exact same way as Phase 1, just be wary of that secondary explosion. And that's everything. My parting advice, stay as close to the boss as possible. If you need to heal, don't try to run away. Just dodge until you get the window, and then use that time to heal instead of attacking. And once again, this guide was made for an average player so that they could kill the boss. I'm sure there are some tactics to perfect everything, but these strategies worked for me and they all felt very approachable. Good luck, I'll let the rest of the Unedited Kill play.